Hello, it's Trini here. How are you all? Welcome back to my craft table. So today we're going to do some more easy collage pockets that you can use time and time again in your journals. So I've got three easy projects here. This one here uses tea dye paper. You can check out my tea dye video if you want to learn how to do something like this, but basically I've just got stencils with these words on it and I just use them in my tea dyeing process. I've got some envelopes here that we're going to cut down and we're going to make some wraparound side tuck pockets. So I'm going to clear this all away and we'll get on with each project. Okay, so for the first project I'm using an old envelope. So if you've got something like this, I actually had a bigger size, A4 size, which I cut down into 4, but this one's just as good. Something like this, and all I've done is cut it so you can see there, and we'll seal up the pocket, and all I've done is folded in the inside. That's the type of material that I'm using for the base of the pocket. I've got a digital download here. I'll link it in the description if you want to get something like this, but it's basically just old documents. So this is one that I've printed on some quite thin paper, and I've got a couple of fussy cut flowers, and I've got some circle labels. I think these are Tracy Fox labels, and I've got some washi tape, which is like a sewing tape type pattern on it. Now I've got a scrapbook of Damask papers, craft brown, and it's good to be able to use this up because I haven't really been using it that much. So I've got my usuals. I've got my Helmer fabric craft glue. I may not use that today, we'll see, but I've got my Boss Stick glue stick, and then I've got my art glitter glue. I have already pre-distressed inked everything, so but in case I do need to, I do use a vintage photo. I've got a bone folder just for smoothing out when I've glued, and then I've got my blending sponge. I've also got this small one which is just like a makeup sponge, and lately I've been using this cotton tip. It's one of those cosmetic ones with the tapered end, and I've been using that to get into the really intricate parts that you can't quite reach with your blending sponge. So let's get started. I'm going to just get the flap and glue that down. Now I might just get my cutting board out because I'm going to need it anyway. We'll just move these just up here, and I just want to make sure that this is all square. So I'm just going to line this up here. I just want to make sure the way I've cut it is I've got my angles correct. So just checking, yep, that all looks square. And it actually looks pretty good, to be honest. I think it's all right. I don't think I'll bother cutting that, but that's something that is worth checking. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is glue down my piece here. So I'm just going to have a look at what I'm going to lose. I really like the script, so I think if I do it like that, and then I can trim off the excess, and actually I might just bring it over a little bit and we can tuck it in. Okay, so let's get that down. So how are you all today? I hope everybody is well. All right, so I'm just bringing that across there, and I'll just glue this edge as well. Great way to use up your larger envelopes. Okay, so I'm just going to fold these angles down here. Now we might need to get our scissors and make a snip like that. So fold that over, and then just like your hospital corners when you do your sheets, and just fold that in there. Okay, so that's that, and this is where I get my bone folder and I just smooth it down. So we'll do the same. I just cut like so. Actually, I might do this side first. So just fold that one in, and then we can come across, and then we can fold that one. Oh, this time we might just have to snip that little bit off there. Now I'm not going to do any stitching on this today, only because, well, you don't need to stitch everything. This is already sealed, so I don't want to have to undo it and then do it all back up again. This is a quick, easy project. Okay, so now we'll get our damask paper, and I'm just going to bring it in here. So I might just make a mark. Okay, let me just make sure. All right, so I'll just make a mark, and I'll just cut that strip off. Okay, making sure everything's straight. Looks pretty good. All right, so now we've got that little strip, which I'll just put that aside and I'll use that in another project. Okay, so I'm just going to glue this down. Somehow I did not measure that correctly. Let me just take that off. Okay, so now we've got even another thinner strip, but that's no drama. We can still use that. Anything patterned like that I do like to keep. All right, so let's try that again. So that's better. So we can glue that down. Okay, and then I'll just fold that over. So I might see if I can pull this up again quickly, only because I noticed I didn't quite get that on the edge there straight. So let me just try and fix that. All right, that's better. Okay, So, I mean, if you wanted to, you could bring it to the edge, but I'm just going to use my Distress ink to clean up any little edges, any of the yellow envelope poking through. So we'll just snip that off there. Okay, so I'm just going to use my bone folder just to smooth everything down. And this is where you might want to get your art glitter glue and just come in and just pay a little bit of attention to the edges there. And this one just down here. All right, so now we've got our base has been covered. So now we can decorate it. Now we've got this line here, and if you look closely, you can see that there is a little bit of the yellow envelope poking through. I'm just going to, keep pinching that until the glue grips on that. So what we can do is, now my design is going to be, I think I'll put the flower here like that, and then we can do that, or I think actually I prefer it that way. We'll do it like that. But what I wanted to do was to get a little bit of this tape in. So I wonder if we bring, yeah, even if we bring it like that, and I'll just run a little bit of tape there. So let's do that. So if I do my flower like so, and whoops, get a little bit of my washi tape. Okay, so that little bit there is ripped, so I think I'll just come in underneath. So let's get some glue on this just to reinforce it a little bit more. Okay, so I think if we can bring that in around about there, and then yes, I might just bring that over like that. All right, so we can have it looking like that, and then we can put down our label like so. So let's get that down. Actually, I might get some book page down for this. Oh, tore it. Dear me. Okay. All right, well, that's no problem. We can repair that. All right, so I think if we do that, and then I'll just have to put that on the top there like so. All right. Okay, no one will ever know. And then we'll just put this one down as well. All right, so we'll decorate this side now. So this one here, I think we can, actually that will work out quite nicely. We'll do that like that, and then that can cover up that little bit of edging of the tape there, and then we can put our specimen label there. So let's glue that down, and this time I'll try not to tear the paper. In fact, I might use the art glitter glue just on this long stem bit. In fact, I think I'm going to use art glitter glue. All right, so let's get that one down. Okay, and then we'll just do our little specimen circle label. Okay, so there we go. And then I'll just take my distress ink and I'll just distress the edges. Right, so that's one pocket done. So that's how that's ended up looking there and there. All right, so we'll just put that to one side and let that dry. Okay, so for the second pocket, again, I'm using the envelope and we'll make it as another wraparound side tuck. So I'm just going to get my trimmer here and just, because I do think this is a little bit crooked. So let's see if we can just straighten this up a bit. Actually, now that I think about it, okay, so this is some French ledger, and this is going to be a little bit shorter. So what I might do is, I bought this off, I purchased this, it's absolutely gorgeous, but I am collecting for a French journal, so I thought this would be a nice pocket to make, and I can put it away in that. So let me straighten up the edges first. Okay, so I'll just trim that, and then what I'll do is I'll just bring this in here and I'll just trim the edge so that the ledger paper fits nicely. So let me move this away now. Probably easier if I make a mark. All right, so I think if we take that much off, we're going to be good. All right, so now I've got my ledger. Oh, I mean, it's all got beautiful writing, but I'm thinking if I just turn this the other way, it's a little bit more ornate on this side. So let's, beautiful paper. It's not thin, but it's not thick, but it's definitely, I don't know, it's probably got cotton in it or something. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I love the writing. All right, so I think I'll use this side. It's a shame to have to lose one half, isn't it? All right, so I think what I'll do is I'll get my glue down. So let's get that down. This is going to be tricky. All right, I think we're good there. Because if I can help it, I'd rather not have to cut anything off unnecessary. All right, so let's now get it on the other edge, the other side. Alright, so I'm going to now just burnish this down nicely. I find that when I do this it helps with the curling. Alright, as the page dries it sort of helps to keep it flat. Alright, now we'll just trim the bottom. I think I took a little bit of the envelope off with me. Just a smidge. So all right, so I've still got that piece and I have got another piece. I have to see if I can get some more of this because it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, so yes, I'm going to have to reseal. I'm still not going to stitch because there's beautiful lines here, but what I will have to do is just make sure that we are straight. Okay. All right, so I'll just seal the bottom up. Okay, so we can just fold the corner in as well. So fold one side down and then I fold the other side down. Just to follow it, and then I bring that around and fold that back in on itself. Okay. All right, so now we can glue those pieces down. Alright, so we've got our base done. Now what I've done is I have gone through, I have this old book and it's a Paris fiction book and it's set between 1720 and 1721. They must be in England at this point in the book because normally it says Paris. But I just sort of went through the pages, and I do like this because it says Duchess was inspecting her beehives, and then it talks about, you know, honey and rosemary and little wooden troughs, and so I quite liked that. So I thought what I would do is just in this corner here, so maybe this little text block, I might cut that out. So I'll get rid of the margins. Given that it's French script and it will be going into a Paris journal. So at this point I will cut that down, but we might make it smaller. We'll see how it looks. So yeah, we're definitely going to have to cut that down. So I'm thinking maybe where it says beehives, and then we might take it down to the bottom of the page. So I'll just trim that off there. probably around about here. And then I wanted to use these strips of ruler, so I'm trying to work out, yes, I think I might go for that. That could work too, but I think what I'll do is I'll go there, and then I've got a butterfly here, and then I thought I would just use a label. So I think I might, where it says Barbara, I think I might take it down there. So I'll just trim that. Yeah, so I think if we put that there like so, and then have that coming down, and I think I'll just snip that off or tear that off around about where it says 12. Right, so have that coming from the top, have that on the edge, and then butterfly coming in like that, and then we can have that there like so, and I think that looks pretty good. All right, so I'll just edge the book page. Okay, so let's get that down. Okay, and then we'll put our piece of ruler down. I find, yes, anything to do with numbers, like, you know, this one here, or washi tape or anything like that, is a good little decorating element to have, just to add that little bit of extra to your collage work. Okay, thinking I just want to try and keep that word, the Duchess, there, just so you can sort of see it. Okay, and then we'll get our, I'm going to do similar decorating on the back. So I've got all my pieces cut, ready to go. Okay. I think we'll do that like so. And then we can put our label down. All right, so that's that side there. So this side we'll do something similar. So let's have a look at our book page. This one might be good as well. All right, so let me trim the edges off. Okay, so let's distress the edges of that one. It's the only thing with this book, it's a lovely book in the sense of the pages are just beautiful, but it's certainly got some saucy bits to it, and yeah, you just have to be careful because yes, some of the text is quite problematic. So I have to be really careful with this one. Okay, so there we go. Let's put that down there like that, and then I appear to have lost my butterfly. Oh, there it is, staring me right in the face. Oh, look at that beautiful script. How have we got it here? Yeah, I think we'll do it like so, about there. How have we got this? Oh, okay, so maybe we do it here. Coming down like so. Right, I think we'll go with that. So we'll have that coming there like that, and then we've got that there like so. Well, I think that looks all right. Maybe just to change it up a little bit, we'll go with that one. All right, I think we'll go like that. So let's get this page down. Okay, so oops, try and straighten up our label. There we go, the label's straight, so everything's straight, and then we've got that side there. So I will distress the edge, so this will be good to fit onto the edge of a book page, and then you can use a giant tag behind there, or you can use, you know, just some sort of page to put behind there. So I think we've got all our edges done there. So that's that one there. So we've got these two here, and then we've got that on the side. So we'll put this one away to dry as well, and then we'll move on to our next and final pocket. So I have got these tea dyed stencils, and I've trimmed them, and I've just looked at the wording, and here I can see that I've got a dragonfly, and here we've got botanical, so I thought I would put that there, but I think we'll just do some stamping. What I wanted to do was trim down some book page, so we'll get a couple of pieces and I'll just glue them together. So this will be good in a woodlands or botanical sort of themed journal. Okay, let me just distress this while I'm here. Okay, so I'm going to put those carefully away there so I don't lose them. All right, so we've got two pieces of paper here that can be backed to that, and then I've got two pieces of paper that can be backed to that. I might just actually use this side. So yeah, I'm just going to trim this down. So we can put that one on there. This one I think I will stitch, and I think if I trim this to about here, I think that will be good. All right, so that's that one. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'll stitch around the edge. But before we do that, now I do want to do a thumb notch in these, so I'm just wondering, do I want to stitch? If I do a thumb notch, I'll have to stitch around the thumb notch, so we'll do that. But before we do that, I do want to stamp. So I'm going to use, I have got my field guide stamp here, and this one I've got mushrooms. So let's test. Yeah, I'm thinking coffee is the way to go, because if I go Pebble Beach, I think it just might be, let's get another piece of paper because you can always use that as a cluster. I mean, it is nice. Which one do I want? Oh, I think they both look all right. So let's maybe go Pebble Beach, because that way, my thinking is this. If I use Pebble Beach, it'll allow the lettering, the wording to stand out a little bit brighter. So let's go with that. Let's get our field notes out, and I think I want this collect and the circle and a number. Let's go this one. All right. Okay, so let's go like that, and like that, and then the circle. And then the number. Now I've got my little fussy cut bits here, so I'm thinking flower there, dragonfly there. So I'm thinking, let's put the number up there, and same here. Okay, now I'm thinking what else to do is just to get, I've got this stencil, so let's put down the fussy cut images. All right, so I'm just thinking just to add a little bit more dimension to it. All right, so I've just got this stencil. It's just got like lovely dots and marks and little grids and stuff. I'm thinking just in this little space here, I might just get my blending brush and just very faintly just bring in some of this pattern here, like so, and then it would be fun to bring in maybe a little bit of the coffee stained. How about we do that? Just like that. Make it look like it's, well, it doesn't really show, but it does look good. Okay, so let's do something similar over here. I think that's enough. All right, let's distress the edges now. So what's left to do is, this hasn't quite glued, and that's good, because what I'll do is I'll pull these back and I'm going to stitch around the edge. So let's glue them down. Just snip that just a little bit off the side here, only because just to match it up a bit better with the other side. Right, so you just got a little bit of that book page peeking through. Okay, so 2-inch circle punch. So I think I'll just take that out. So that's that one, and I'll do the same here. I think that's a bit pretty centered there. Okay, I have to finish that off with the scissors. All right, so we'll just do that. I will be back in a second and I will stitch that up. I just wanted to show you a little tip. I've gone a little wonky with my stitching there around that curve, but if you just take a black, it's like a gel pen, but if you just sort of come across there and just sort of finish that off, and that just sort of makes it look like, you know, just improves it a little bit. And I mean, you don't have to worry about it really, but we could also come up here and just sort of neaten that corner up there just a little. So I just thought I'd pass that little tip on there. So I think we're done. I think all that's left to do now is just de-stress the edges. You know, but when you do your tea dyeing, this is something, you know, you can maybe even spend a session and just tea dye up a whole lot of stencils that you can use for ephemera, and then you can just, this would be a good mass make, I think. Let's finish inking up, and then I will show you all the little projects that we've done in today's video. Okay, so here we are with our project. So we've got the first page wraparound side tuck, and that has been embellished on both sides. And then we've got this lovely little French ledger script as well. And then we've got the 2 pockets here. Well, I think that's about it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and got some inspiration from this. If you enjoyed the video, it would be great if you could give me a like and it helps the algorithm, helps my channel get out there and, you know, help other people find this tutorial. And if you haven't subscribed, it would be great if you could consider subscribing. And if you've got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I always reply to everyone. So guys, that's it for me for another one. I will see you next time. Bye.